Hello and welcome to Midday Report on TVP World. I'm Marie Cato. Russian President Vladimir Putin will not be attending peace talks he had previously called for in Istanbul. Our correspondent Alex Cadier is there for us. Good afternoon, Alex. Will these talks happen?
Good afternoon. Well, at the moment, talks between President Putin and President Zelensky seem incredibly unlikely, particularly as both sides have been trading insults. President Zelensky described the Russian delegation sent here as stand-in props. The Foreign Ministry of Russia called the Ukrainian president a clown and a loser. So with that kind of constructive language, you can imagine those talks not moving forward particularly well. Now, we know from the Ukrainian delegation that President Zelensky has just met with President Erdogan of Turkey in Ankara. Zelensky said that only after that meeting would he then make a decision as to whether or not any other meeting would go forward. So at the moment, we simply do not know. President Zelensky is here. Rustem Umerov, the defense minister, the foreign minister of Ukraine, also here. Andrei Yermak, the head of the presidential office, the chief of staff, is also here. So clearly the Ukrainian delegations are here. On the Russian side, we have a presidential advisor, a deputy foreign minister and a deputy defense minister. The Russian side says talks have been delayed to the afternoon. The Ukrainian side says no decision has been made. Zelensky said the decision would come after the meeting with Erdogan. That has just wrapped up, so we may find out in the coming minutes exactly what the Ukrainians will decide to do with this low-level Russian delegation.
Alex Cadier keeping us updated from Istanbul, Turkey. Thanks very much. As Russian and Ukrainian delegations are set to meet in Turkey to hold peace talks, Moscow launched over 100 drones on Ukraine overnight. Who is in the Ukrainian delegation and what are the hopes? Joining us now is Oz Karuji.
We are waiting to hear more about what develops in Istanbul, given the delegation that the Russians have sent, which President Zelensky referred to as decorative. So it's unclear where those talks are going to go, if they're even going to proceed at all, between the low-level Russian delegation and what Zelensky describes as the high-level Ukrainian delegation, which includes the Ukraine's top diplomat and Andrei Yermak, the head of the presidential office, so the foreign minister Andrei Sybiha. It's a very high-level delegation, also including members from the military and intelligence services. However, the Russians haven't met them with the same level of delegation, and therefore it's still unclear how things will proceed. Now, President Zelensky has released a statement before these negotiations are supposed to get underway. Let's take a quick listen to that.
Our delegation is at the highest level. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, my office, the military, our intelligence services, and representatives of all intelligence agencies, in order to make any decisions that could lead to a just and expected peace. As for the high-level meetings, we will start with a meeting with Erdogan and the full Turkish delegation. We are in contact with the American side. They will also be in Turkey at a high level. But the level of the Russian side is still officially unknown to me. However, from what we see, it appears to be at a phony level.
So as this situation continues to develop, TVP World will be bringing you all of the latest from Kyiv and also from Turkey. Back to you over in the studio.
Many thanks, Oz Karuji, reporting for us live from Kyiv, Ukraine. Vladimir Putin has sent a low-level delegation just to play for time, said Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski on the sidelines of the NATO Foreign Ministers Summit in Turkey. The officials have gathered in Antalya for an informal meeting to discuss ending the Russia-Ukraine war.
That President Zelensky is here in Turkey, ready to talk peace, whereas Vladimir Putin has sent a low-level delegation just to play for time. And we hope that the President for the United States sees this mockery for what it is and draws the right conclusions. Poland supports the ambitious recommendations for defense spending, which we are already fulfilling.
Polish Minister for European Union Affairs Adam Szłapka said that Poland, while at the helm of the European Council, is ready to open accession negotiations for Ukraine. Schwabka added that Kyiv is ready to begin the process before June 30th, when Poland's presidency of the European Council officially ends. On Wednesday, the minister met with Olha Stefanishyna, Ukraine's deputy prime minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration. On the same day, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal confirmed Ukraine has completed all internal steps necessary to begin the accession negotiations with the EU. Since taking over the presidency, Warsaw said Ukraine's accession talks are a top priority for the 6-month-long term, an idea strongly opposed by Hungary. Poland's Central Statistical Office has published a flash estimate of the country's GDP growth. The size of the Polish economy has increased by 3.2% in the first quarter of 2025. The Polish finance minister has said that the Polish economy is growing significantly faster than the average in the European Union. The finance minister says that the growth is expected to accelerate in the coming quarters due to growing investments. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has voiced support for Romania's pro-EU presidential candidate in a message delivered in Romanian, calling on Romanian voters to, quote, defend Romania and Europe. The Southeast European country goes to the polls on Sunday, the same day as Poland, to choose a new president in an election regarded as one of the most significant since the fall of communism in 1989.
In his video message, Tusk mentions the late Helmut Dökadam and recalls that the famous goalkeeper gave him his gloves, which he now believes should be received by Niku Jordan alongside the mayor of Warsaw, Rafał Trzaskowski, a candidate in the Polish presidential election and an ally of Tusk.
Two mayors of our beautiful capitals, Bucharest and Warsaw, Niku Jordan and Rafał Trzaskowski, will fight the same dangers: aggressive neighbors, foreign agency influence, anti-European populism, corruption and lies. It is evident that you, the voters, and not foreign powers, are the ones who must exclusively decide who will become president.
Back at home, meanwhile, right-wing presidential candidate and Trzaskowski's main contender, Karol Nawrocki, has sought to deepen ties with Bucharest.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite to the stage the future president of Romania, George Simeon.
George, welcome to Poland, welcome to Zabrze!
The similarity between the candidates has resulted in mutual back-scratching, with Simeon declaring his support for Nawrocki. Voters in Romania have a choice between Niku Jordan, the liberal and pro-EU mayor of Bucharest, and George Simeon, a Eurosceptic nationalist who has called for an end to military support for Ukraine. The two frontrunners in Poland, meanwhile, Rafał Trzaskowski, the centro-liberal candidate from Tusk's civil coalition, who is also mayor of Warsaw, and conservative and pro-Trump Karol Nawrocki, are expected to advance to the second round.
In an exclusive interview with TVP World, Ivan Krastev, chairman of the Center for Liberal Strategies in Sofia, talked about the role of the European Union in safeguarding parts of the democratic process, referring to when presidential elections in Romania were annulled following claims of election interference by a foreign entity.
There was a decision of Constitutional Court. So you should imagine that the European Union is going to respect it because this was the decision of a very independent body. On the other side, I do believe it was a totally wrong decision. And the story was that you have a grand coalition government and their candidate didn't manage to go to the second round. Obviously, something was going wrong. And obviously, in the moment like this, to try to annul the first round of the elections, to stop a candidate running, you're deepening the crisis, you're not solving the crisis. And this is the story of European Union. You cannot believe that you can be simply legal and technical, because in a moment of a major polarization, the legal is political.
Warsaw's Minister of Defense, Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, will sign an agreement with Polish arms manufacturer WB Electronic. The deal involves deliveries of the War-Made system and loitering munitions, which can be used by Polish and allied armies. The war-made drone-based system can be used as a self-contained unit, which can be installed on vehicles. The entire system is managed through a ground control station, which is a single light backpack with a touchscreen computer and an automatic antenna mounted on a tripod. With a range of up to 30 kilometers, the system allows its operators to easily set and modify flight plans using software installed on any type of laptop. On top of that, real-time data from the drone can be viewed and modified through a portable computer. Poland has launched the Polish Sea program, which aims to ensure the security of the Baltic Sea. Warsaw also wants to triple container transshipment in Polish ports by 2030.
The Polish Prime Minister wants to boost security in the Baltic Sea and help Poland benefit more from its strategic location on the coast.
Today, we are launching an ambitious program called Polish Sea. We live in difficult times marked by unrest and heavy war just outside our borders. So the first task is to ensure security in the Baltic Sea itself, which is why the government has so enthusiastically joined international efforts to protect the waters of the Baltic against threats resulting from the aggressive policy of another country neighboring the sea, Russia.
Poland's new maritime policy also involves tripling container transshipment in Polish ports by 2030. In 2024, that volume sat around 3.3 million tons. The Prime Minister has also announced a slate of new investment projects. Polish shipyards are to build a new sailing ship and a training and research vessel. In line with the push to prioritize national interests in the Polish economy, announced back in April by the Prime Minister, Polish companies should be involved in and benefit to the extent possible from these new initiatives. All these announcements were made at the 2025 International Maritime Congress in Szczecin, Poland.
That wraps up Midday Report here on TVP World. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.